It is time for Around the 412 with Smitty and Tyler.
Welcome back to another episode of Around the 412. I am Tyler. With me, as always, is my co-host Smitty. Go follow us on all of our social medias at Around the 412. Also, if you're not watching the show on YouTube already, check us out. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. You never miss a video. Also, when we go live, if you're a Steeler fan, we do Steelers Saturday Sit Down in the fall, previewing the Sunday matchup that the Steelers have the following day. So if you're curious about that, 10 a.m. Eastern is when we go live. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Leave a like on the video. It really helps us out a lot. Also, follow us wherever you listen to the podcast as well, whether that's Spotify, Apple, or wherever you can find our podcast. We are there. Just search Around the 412. Subscribe to the channel and leave a 5-star rating. Really helps us out a ton. Also, check out the description of the shows. We've got all of the links to our great sponsors, including Year 8 of Rocking Around the 412. We got the GoFundMe link in the description right now, but there's several ways to get involved. The GoFundMe helps some of the individual families around this time of year. We have a family that we are going to be providing Christmas for this year, so we have at least one. We want to continue to help as many children as possible in that regard. So one way we're able to do that is if we get some more donations as well. The more money we're able to raise, we are able to help as many kids as possible. But if you're not interested in the GoFundMe or you are not able to do that at the time, maybe you can get involved with the East Rochester Salvation Army, adopt a kid off of the Angel Tree. We do it in the name of our late friend Dalton Keene. And so far, 50 tags sold through the Angel Tree and the Salvation Army this year. I want to continue to have that number rise at 230 kids total through the technically 8 years so far, but as we mentioned a few times, we mentioned it last episode on the Steelers show that the first year was going to a children's center in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. So don't really know how many kids that impacted itself, but from what we actually can know since 2019, 230 kids have been provided children in the local 724 and 412 areas Christmas. So if you want to get interested in that, involved with that, GoFundMe. You can donate to Smitty or I directly, so GoFundMe doesn't take anything from you, as well as the East Rochester Salvation Army. And if you do donate, there's going to be some fun prizes for you to potentially win, such as a Pat Fryermuth signed item, some Penguins tickets. If you're watching this show, you're probably interested in that, along with some Shop Yins Around the 412 merch, some Game Changers shirts, all sorts of good stuff. If you're interested in saying hey, you guys should do this, give away this, as a prize for Rocking Around the 412 as well, let us know, and we'll see what we can do with that. But lots of ways to get involved. We're already in November. Pretty crazy that it's been flying by. We kick this thing off July 1st of every year, but we only got about a month and a half left before this thing wraps up. So get involved while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited about that. You mentioned the family that we're going to be able to help out. Means a lot. So it just means so much for you guys to really make this thing come to fruition every single year. You know, we are the ones that put it together, but it's your guys' funds that make it happen. So super thankful for all of you that have already donated, have donated at some point throughout the course of this thing through the years, or will donate because they're hearing this message right now. So excited for that. Again, as Tyler said, second week of December will be the cutoff date for the entire mission, but see where it goes. Very excited about it. All right, let's talk some Penguins hockey. Not as great of a wrap to the week as what we had last week to talk about on here. It seems like they've hit their first wall of adversity, if you will, not just on an individual level with the play of Harrison Brunick as of late, certainly taking a dip, but just on a team level as well. Not very good last Saturday against the Jets in their first afternoon game. I feel like the afternoon games have just been going. Hey, if you guys watch the Steelers episode as well, we were talking about the recent success or lack thereof on Sunday Night Football. I feel like these weekend afternoon games have kind of been that for the Penguins over the last few years as well. So, you know, that is what it is, whatever. How are they going to respond to that? Well, they go up 3-0 on the Maple Leafs on Monday night. It's looking very good for 40 minutes. And then the third period happens. And unfortunately for the Penguins, it is a 3-period hockey game. And they give up 4 unanswered goals in a 20-minute period where Tristan Jarry was not very good. I mentioned Harrison Brunick. I thought him and Pickering were awful throughout the course of that game, but especially in the third period. And it really just seemed like a period where the entire team no-showed. I don't know if they were trying to pay tribute to Mike Sullivan or what that was about, but I'm more curious than ever now because of these last couple games, and really especially how this one closed out against Toronto. How do they respond on Thursday against the Capitals? That I'm very curious, because it is, other than obviously they have the elder statesman of this team, which kind of raised the average age of this group. But there's a lot of young players on this team, and I'm curious how they respond to this adversity that they're being hit with for the first time this season.
Yeah, obviously a different conversation than we're having from last week, where the Penguins secured at least 1 point in every effort that they had. In this one, they had 3 games since we last spoke, only have the 2 points that they got by playing the Minnesota Wild, and then they lost in Winnipeg, lost in Toronto. It was not a great week for the Penguins. The game against the Jets, I mean, they scored a couple goals later, but that one, it was kind of out of hand from the beginning. Not necessarily a terrible effort, I thought, from the team, but they just were never going to come back in that one, it felt like. But I think the bigger talking point in the most recent one is what happened in Toronto on Monday night, because you're up 3-0. Ben Kindel has 2 goals. You're feeling really good going into that third period, and all of a sudden the team just falls flat on their face. And it's funny because we're kind of joking when we say, like, paid tribute to Mike Sullivan, but how many times over the last 2 or 3 seasons, especially last year, did we see this team just blow leads, stop playing in the third period? It was like they had no heart and finish in the third period of the games, and that's kind of what we saw in Toronto. Brian Russ spoke after the game saying that this team has to find some resolve after that one, because I feel like just for a Monday night regular season hockey game, that probably impacted the locker room more than what on the surface it shows, because you're up 3-0 feeling good and you literally fall flat on your face. They could not have played worse. The defensive effort was awful. Tristan Jarry reverted back to, like, I won't say that all of the goals were his problem, but it didn't look great in that third period. I mean, 4 goals given up. It was not a good period.
Yeah, he was like a negative 1.5 goal save above expected in the third period alone. So
right, and so it was a poor effort from the team overall, and I think that's probably the more concerning part about it. If you're just looking at the games that they've played since then, like the Winnipeg one, it is what it is. They have historically, at least recently, not playing well in afternoon games. They were in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is one of the best teams in the NHL. It is what it is. The Toronto one, where you have that lead, blow it in the fashion that you did, and then you're not able to not only hold on to the lead, but can't even like muster to get to overtime or get a point out of that one. That's the bigger concerning part to me, because what changes and what changed in that locker room, what changed on that bench to where they were playing, I thought, very well through the first 2 periods. And then it was like a tale of 2 games. Obviously it wasn't as long as 2 games, but like that third period felt like a completely different hockey team that took the ice compared to the first 2 periods we saw.
Yeah, 100%. What I will say, and this is where I want to come back talking about this after we play this first ad, is what a player Ben Kindel is. I mean, I can't imagine where this team would be without him. I think he's on the short list. He's probably been in the top, 4 or 5 players overall so far to start this season. And I'm glad that he's really starting to get rewarded for it in the goal department and the points department, because that was something that wasn't happening early on. He's starting to look like a guy. Hey, I'm just saying, maybe he deserves a shirt through Game Changers. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from Around the 412 here. Got to take a quick second to tell you about our friends at Game Changers. That's their logo. This is one of their shirts. Best vintage t-shirts in the game. Doesn't matter if it's sports, music, movies. They got you covered with their designs. Over 5,000 different designs in that catalog over there. GameChanger.la or Pick6.la. You'll save yourself $10 when you use the code AT412 on your order. The link is below to both of those sites. Go check out their entire catalog. Again, 5,000 different designs. If you go with the black or the white, it'll be true to size. If you go with the pepper, which I'm wearing right now, or the ivory, they'll be a bit oversized. It's a heavyweight material. Beautiful stuff. Go check them out. Again, save yourself $10 using code AT412 at checkout. I'm very concerned that you're right on something that you said last week. And I hate that you're right. But I'm not saying we were fully on different pages here, but you said you thought that there was at least an argument to be made about Harrison Brunick returning to juniors. and I think it's trending in that direction. As unfortunate as it is, because there's not players that I want to watch. I mean, for God's sake, we're bringing Ryan Graves back up because of the injury to Owen Pickering. There's not players that we're going to play in this time that I'd rather see than Brunick, but I was worried about how an extended period of this type of play from him could impact him long term. I think I'm at the point now where maybe it is better to return him, let him do his thing, just totally feast on the competition at a lower level. He's got this taste of NHL experience, come back up and be better for it. Opposite conversation from Ben Kindel at this point, which I do agree with your assessment, where maybe at the beginning of the year I would have thought maybe it would be the reverse conversation, but Ben Kindel hasn't shown me anything to say he doesn't belong. Brunick at the beginning of the year looked like he was going to be in the same boat, but I think that conversation's kind of changed over the course of the last 2 weeks, and I think well within reason now to send him back. He had a cup of coffee here. Let's send him back and see how he does.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I didn't want to be right. And I wouldn't even say that I was thinking that he was necessarily going to be sent down, but I thought he was himself was opening the door for the conversation. And I think that you saw over these last couple of games that his play has not taken the steps that you would like to see to stay at the NHL level. I thought that he was really bad, especially in that third period in Toronto on Monday. And so based off of that, the 9 games are up. Would I like to see him play up in the NHL still? Yes, because I still think that there is some value in him taking those lumps at the NHL level, because at the end of the day, how much is Junior going to be that good to him as far as like development goes? Like, sure, he's going to play dominant and look very good down there, but as far as developing him as a player, I don't know how much is actually going to offer him. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like what you saw with Rucker McGroarty last year, where, I mean, it's a little different because he's going back to juniors and not going to the AHL. But he is a player that you had expectations for to open the season, didn't really meet those expectations. And so now it's probably better for the player if you send him back down. I still think that there's some value in taking those lumps and learning at the NHL level, because I think that from a player development standpoint, he'd learn more here. But regardless, I don't necessarily think that he's played well enough to stay up here. And I think that's the main talking point that has to be brought up when it comes to whether he is going to be sent down or not. I would probably say yes, he will be, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, by the time this comes out, we're going to know that answer for sure. But you brought up, like, my tweet, how prior to the season, if you would have told me that Ben Kindel and Harrison Brunick are both on the opening night roster, which one is going to be sent down after the 9 games, I would have said Ben Kindel, like 9 out of 9 times. Like, it is surprising to me still how well his game has looked at the NHL level and how easily he has adjusted to it and really been a great offensive player, driving play from that third line center role, looking like one of the best third line centers the Penguins have had in recent history through this short stretch of games. And not only is he looking good 5-on-5 and in that third line role, but also looking good on the first power play. And I think that there's an argument that he should stay on that first power play, even if the Foley power play is healthy. He's been that impactful and that good. That's not something that I or many people could have predicted from that. In the 2025 draft, for the NHL entry draft, there is only 3 players that have recorded goals. There's 11 goals scored. 5 of them are from Ben Kindel. 5 are from Matthew Schaefer, who was the first overall pick, also a defenseman, so that's more impressive. But
he's unbelievable.
1 goal from Michael Misa. The other 5 are Ben Kindel with the Penguins. I mean, he's been unreal. Absolutely great effort from him night in and night out. Can't say the same with Harrison Brunick, and that's why I think he's going to be sent back down.
I did misspeak. Pickering was reassigned to Wilkes-Barre Strait, and there was 3 players that were placed on IR. He was not one of them. Those were Noel Acciari, Justin Brazeau, very unfortunate for him, who's been rolling to start the season, and Tristan Jarry going on IR, which you're probably wondering, what's that mean for the goaltending? Sergei Murashov coming up to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He was recalled along with Ryan Graves, aforementioned, and Danton Heinen coming back up as well. Danton Heinen playing at Wilkes-Barre is kind of funny. to be honest with you. I completely forgot that was a thing. But he'll come back up to the Penguins. We'll see how that figures out. I know Kevin Hayes is working his way back too, so we'll see who actually gets that spot. But that's kind of where I wanted to go next. Murashov coming up with the way that they've kind of been rolling with the goaltender switching game after game and really not seeing the same guy 2 games in a row. You got to think he's going to play at some point, right? Like this isn't strictly to just back up in case of emergency Artur Shilov's. I would think Marashov's actually going to see some game action up here.
I would assume so. I mean, the way that they've been using the goaltenders would speak to that. I'm looking at their upcoming games, and this weekend they actually do have a back-to-back. They play the New Jersey Devils on Saturday night, and on Sunday they are home against the LA Kings. So, assuming that he's going to have to, because I was going to say, assuming they didn't backdate the Jarry going on to IR to yesterday, but I mean, regardless, you have to stay on it for 7 days at least. So yeah, he's going to have to play. You're going to see Murashov in one of those 2 games in the back-to-back. So that'll be interesting. I mean, we're talking about how well the goaltenders have played up to this point in the season. You've got that 1A, 1B tandem, and still, even despite the games that they had against Winnipeg and against Toronto, that third period against Toronto, they are still 10th and 11th in the league in goal save above expected. So still getting some overall solid goaltending in Pittsburgh so far. I don't necessarily think that Murashov is going to come in and stay up here for long, but it will be interesting to see how long Tristan Jarry stays on IR if Murashov does look as good as what is expected, or what it does look as good as what is advertised as what he is as a prospect. I think it's going to be harder for them to be able to kind of keep him up there if that is the case, because then at that point, what do you do with Tristan Jarry? Do you just send him down to Wilkes-Barre and kind of do what you're doing with Ryan Graves and just eat that money
last year
and did with Jarry last year? I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they make that decision. I thought it was good of them to keep Murashov down in the AHL for another year while they're dealing with whatever they're dealing with at the NHL level, goaltending wise, get him a full season down there. But if he comes up and looks really good, that'll be a interesting decision to see Kyle Dubas make.
Yeah, you mentioned when talking about Harrison Brunick how he himself kind of opened the door to allow the team to make that decision and be justified in doing so. I feel like the reverse side of that, Murashov can kind of do the same thing, right? Like he can make that a very tough decision for them to have to make if he does play really well. You know that the fan base is already ready to move on from Tristan Jarry and has been. Imagine if Murashov plays well now in Jarry's absence. That conversation's only going to get louder and louder. So, I mean, I don't know how much game action he's going to see. We just mentioned I should have probably looked at the schedule before putting that on the table as a talking point. We know he's going to see at least one game. We'll see how he does. But I really think that this could definitely create some controversy, if you will.
Yeah, and I think that's going to depend on how long Jarry's out, because I'm looking at the schedule ahead, and they have the back-to-back this upcoming weekend, but then they've got some time between some of their future games. Like they play on Sunday. They don't play again until Friday night next week, and then they play on Sunday again. But then they don't play. Then that Sunday is the 16th. And then they don't play again until it looks like Thursday night on the 21st. So like there's some spaced out games.
Yeah, Demus hasn't been afraid to play the young guys though, and just like with the way that he's handled Filovs and Jarry just going back and forth, I could see him just wanting to operate the same way with these two.
Yeah, that's true. I would imagine if Murashov gets to start against the Capitals. That would be very interesting to me if they just like throw
emergency
him in right from game one. Yeah, honestly, like if that's the case, then I think that is a tell that they're giving him a real shot to stay at the NHL level. I don't expect that to happen, but
Jarry?
I don't know. You played bad. You're going on IR.
Like we know Acciari got hurt. We knew Brazeau was hurt, and Pickering got sent down. Jarry's the one where it's just like, oh, okay. And I guess it didn't have to be Murashov either that they brought up. So, I mean, I'm glad that it is. He's their best option, in my opinion. But if they really wanted to just like keep him down there and just keep him playing on a daily basis as the number one guy. They had every opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Seth Rohrbar put out in the article talking about it today, this evening, that there was no specific word as to the nature of the ailments involving Tristan Jarry going on to IR. So,
oh yeah, so he's fine. All right,
he's fine. I mean, they didn't even specify if it's lower or upper body injury. Like he just went on to IR.
Yep, he's got a broken heart again. Same thing as last year.
A broken heart.
He's got a broken heart.
Rehab assignment down in the AHL, and then stay down there when
it all started. It all started with an illness, suckitis, and then he suffered a broken heart.
Suckitis. Yeah. Same stretch of suck undies.
No, but I mean, I hope all things are okay with Tristan Jarry from a health standpoint. And I don't know, that's just a weird situation because it's not like he left that game early at all. They wouldn't have had a practice. So like, I don't know when something happened to him. Maybe that explains the way that he played in the third period if something did happen over the course, but then I'm just gonna be upset that they didn't take him out. Because that game very much was winnable for them if something did happen and they just played injured. So but I'm very excited to see Murashov. I did kind of skip over the Kindel thing, which is I said I wanted to talk about because we ended up just talking about Brunick during the course of that and not so much Ben Kindel. But I do got to play another ad, so I'm going to try to remember to actually talk about Ben Kindel when we come back from this ad. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from Around the 412 had to take a quick second to tell you about our friends at Keats Barbershop. That's Keats Barbershop, 401 Burkage Way, Suite 2 in Beaver, PA. Download the app The Cut, book an appointment with Christian today, or you can do a walk-in with Tony or Ashley. Again, download the app The Cut to book an appointment today, or they do take walk-ins as well. Could not imagine going anywhere else. Old school vibe in there. Check them out. Ben Kindel, I said I think he's been somewhere like the fourth or fifth best player on the team. I don't know if you agree with that assessment. I just think he's been fantastic, and I'm glad that the fruit is starting to bear for him as well. Scoring a couple goals the other night, getting top power play minutes. I just think that there's so much trust put into this kid, and it's nice to see. It's refreshing that he's being put in these positions right now because it's just so rare. And I'm not even just talking from a Penguin standpoint, right? Like, look around the league. How many guys are the 11th overall pick and then immediately playing on that NHL roster? So it's just a unique situation. And right now he's thriving in it.
Yeah. And not only is he good offensively, but I think he's been responsible defensively. You've noticed in him in that end of the ice. And that's why I think that he's been such a good 3C for this team. And it's something that they haven't really had down the middle for a while, especially with Malkin and Crosby clicking on the way they are. This is probably the best center tandem, at least through this amount of games that they've had in a while. Ben Kindel, I could not say enough about how impressive he has actually been. And like I said, I don't think that they should take him off the power play even when Raquel comes back from injury. I think that he's been pressed enough that, like, you've got to keep him on there. I think that he's got good vision. He gets to the dirty area in front of the net and is willing to sacrifice his body. He's been very, very good. And like I mentioned, talking about him and Brunick, I would not have expected this going into the season. I thought that based off of development, size, that he would have needed to take another year in juniors to maybe to get his body more at the NHL level. But even with his size, like, I don't feel like he's out of place at all. I think that he's been very, very impressive. And I agree with your assessment. I think that he's been at worst a top 5 player for this team so far.
This is from Byron Bader from Twitter. Only 7 times in the past 35 years has a forward picked outside the top 10 made the NHL past the 9-game tryout. The same season that they were drafted, Kindel makes the 8th now after playing more than 9 games. And, obviously speaking to what you were talking about, I think it's a good shout in terms of bringing up the defensive stuff as well, because he has been so responsible. I don't know that that's necessarily something that we had talked about a bunch. I know when we had Jesse Marshall on here, we obviously, he spent quite a bit of time talking about his responsibility in that end, but like the advanced numbers love everything that he's doing too. I mean, he's top 3 on the team in terms of expected goals for. Like, there's not signs that this is going to slow down either, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like, this feels very sustainable, what he's doing right now.
Yeah, honestly, the worst thing about him right now is that he has no assists because his line mates can't do anything with him. I think that's the biggest problem that we've seen so far. He got 5 goals, 5 points, no assists. His line mates aren't really contributing in that matter, but he himself has been super, super good. I want to bring up another thing too, where I didn't think that it was going to be as big of an issue as I think it has been over the past week or two. Since Raquel has been injured, replacing a top winger for Sid is always a difficult thing to do because Sid is very particular with the type of players he likes. Obviously, Brian Rust is a mainstay up there, but whether it has been Philip Hollander or they tried Ville Koivunen, who even in his second stint at the NHL this year, I don't think that he's been that great. I would not be surprised to see him going back down as long as people can come back from an injury sometime soon. But they have not really.
Give him a couple games with Rucker on that line too. I'm telling you, I want to see him, Kindel, and Rucker together.
Yeah.
I
agree with you. But while Rucker's out, while you're not having that line, I feel like if he's not going to be in an elevated role, he's probably best served just playing in Wilkes-Barre. But whether it's him, Hollander, they haven't really found somebody to replace Raquel on that line. And I think at least in 5-on-5, it's been noticeable.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about that, but also now with Brazeau on IR, you're missing 2 guys from your top 6. Whether we thought that was going to be the case or not in terms of Brazeau's role, that's the reality of where we're at right now. Brian Rust has started to score a little bit. I think as we always figured was going to be the case, once he gets one, he seemingly starts to go into the floodgates open. But we knew, this team isn't necessarily flush with the talent to be able to make up for the loss of a Rickard Raquel, which is why, we didn't have super high expectations for the team because we didn't know if this was a guy that was even going to be on the roster. And certainly a lot of question whether he'll be on the roster past the trade deadline, I think. Maybe where the team is at could dictate that. But, yeah, I don't look at this lineup or roster right now and think that there's an easy fix to not having Rickard Raquel in the lineup either. I think the answer is just you need more from Sid, which it's hard to ask for more. You need Russ to keep scoring. Gino's been fantastic. I mean, Mance has been good.
Sid, I know you're a top 5 player all time, but we need more from you.
I just mean
no, I know exactly what you mean, but it's just funny to say you're funny to hear it say we need more from you, Sid, even though you're at well over a point per game.
I just don't know where you find the scoring sans Raquel. That's the point. You need more from everybody because you don't have him, and I don't know where it's coming from unless like you're saying you need a Ville Koivunen to step up. Is he even who's going to play on Sid's? Let's make a prediction right now. Who's going to be playing with Sid and Rust for this game in Washington?
My guess would probably still be Philip Hollander. I don't think it's going to be Koivunen. I'm going to guess Hollander.
Let me. I'll throw this out recently,
there, but
maybe a wild shot in the dark here. I'm going to say it's Danton Heinen who they just called up.
I mean, we've seen that a little bit. He's played with Sid a few times, so that could make sense. But that's something that I feel like is underrated because Sid's still scoring, but a lot of it has been on the power play recently. And at 5-on-5, I'm not necessarily saying the line is bad, but I don't think that they're clicking as well as they could because they are not finding a left wing to replace Raquel the way that he is with Sid.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough position to be in. And now without Brazeau, who's playing with Gino, do you find a right fit there? Was it Tomasino playing with them in the last game without Brazeau? Yeah, I mean, don't know that I love that. I just, again, they have a bunch of bottom 6 players right now that are playing in higher roles. So, I mean, even Brazeau and Mantha, you would think not in most top 6s, but they were thriving on that second line playing with Gino together. So,
yeah,
the lineup construction will be very interesting to see going forward. What that looks like. We'll take another ad break here. Keep talking about it. Put a bow on this thing, and then get out of here. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from Around the 412 had to take a quick second to tell you about our newest sponsor, Shop Yins. A lot of people been asking me about Around the 412 merch. We got it. Down below is the link, shopyins.com. SZN.com. Save yourself $10 off a minimum purchase of $30, which is basically like you're just buying one t-shirt if you're over there right now. Orders of $75 or more also get free shipping. And while you're over there, don't just check out our Around the 412 stuff. Taylor's got Penguin stuff, Steelers stuff, Pirate stuff, a bunch of good stuff always coming out. Hoodies, I'm actually rocking mine right now. T-shirts, hats, stickers, flags. He's got a bunch of stuff, koozies going on over there right now. Go check all of it out. We appreciate the support that you guys have given us. We appreciate our guy Taylor. Go check it out, shopyins.com. I know that he's had a couple games that have looked like the last 2 years of his Penguins tenure, or the only 2 years of his Penguins tenure. But I'm not sure enough people are talking about the year Erik Karlsson's having to start the season as well. Just scored his first goal the other night of the season. But he's on a pace for like 64 points this year. And he's also playing much better in his own end, in my opinion, which I really question where they would be as a team without that happening. Like, I feel like him and Wotherspoon have actually been a pretty solid pairing together. I don't want to give Wotherspoon the credit for stabilizing Karlsson necessarily, but maybe that's part of it too. Some guys just have like a particular type of defenseman they need to play with to bring that out of them and let them be free. And obviously the system, I think, deserves some credit for that as well. But yeah, I think that probably because of Gino's resurgence this year and Sid still being a point per game guy, I feel like the play of Erik Karlsson's kind of flown under the radar.
Yeah, and I think that it may have flown under the radar for those reasons, but also it's a little different style than what we've traditionally seen from Erik Karlsson. Like, when you think of good play, like obviously 64 points for a defenseman is great, but we're thinking of like major offensive numbers when we're talking about Erik Karlsson being this good. But I feel like he's kind of evolved as a player and he's been better in his own end, which, like you said, I attribute that to probably mostly I would attribute to the coaching staff. Like, maybe they're just getting through to him and getting him to play a different style and buy into what they're selling defensively. And I think that it's working. Like, there's certain games where he kind of falls back into what he looked like the first year and a half here. But I think that overall, from this standpoint, like if I was giving him a grade, he'd be no lower than a B so far this season, because I think that he has been.
I think he's right within that top five as well that we mentioned. With Sid, Gino,
like
Kindel.
He's been very, very good, and I think that he's up there with like their best defenseman right now. Like Parker Wotherspoon, been a pleasant surprise this year, but as far as like the guys that you have expectations for going into the season, Erik Karlsson has been a completely different type of player than what has been expected, but a better player than what we expected as well because of the changes that he's made. And like you're saying, kind of quietly going about it. Not much talk about Erik Karlsson and the way that he's playing right now, but it's probably the best. I don't even say probably. It's definitely the best that he's looked in a Penguins uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. Mentioned Gino, 19 points in 14 games. Sid has 17 and 14. Brazeau, 12 and 12. They have a couple guys that are kind of right there knocking at the door, being point per game guys. Karlsson's one of those, as well as Anthony Mantha. Now Brian Rust, 11 points in 12 games played this year. So on a bit of a heater, as we mentioned, once he gets one, he just seems to get rolling. So 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points in the 12 games that he's played. Another shout out that I want to give on the back end. I know that we've talked about this guy too, like probably playing in a more elevated role than he should be, but like Ryan Shea's not killing him either. Like I think that Ryan Shea's been pretty good. I would feel really good if he was back in the role that you would have thought he would have been in as like the third pairing left-hand guy. Now, probably punching above his weight right now a little bit, and we'll see how long he can continue to play those top line minutes. But when Ryan Shea is playing similarly to Brian Dumoulin, getting those results, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourself. And I think you got to tip your cap to the way that he's played so far.
He, to me, reminds me a lot of what Chad Ruhwedel did with a floor right now. Like, not necessarily the high-end player that you get, even from a Dumoulin standpoint. Like, I know the comparisons there from what they're getting, especially being paired with Chris Letang, but whenever you're getting the play that you are from Ryan Shea as far as the floor goes, like, he reminds me a lot of Chad Ruhwedel. Like, where for a lot of his Penguins tenure, I thought that he was a safe floor as far as a seventh defenseman goes. Now, obviously,
shout out her, by the way,
playing more. Shout out Herb with Chavruidel. But he reminds me a lot of that, and I think that he is a pleasant surprise too on the back end from a left side that we were very concerned about going into the season. Two out of the three guys with Ryan Shea and Parker Weatherspoon has been pleasant surprises so far, and I think that he's providing a lot more as far as like driving play goes than what you get out of traditional defensive defensemen. And so, yeah, I think that he's been good. I mean, we'll see what it looks like from a longer standpoint. I mean, we're kind of past the point where the sample size is considered too small, but we'll see, can he do this for like several months at a time and sustain this play? But yeah, they've been really good.
Yeah. I'm very curious as to how this thing continues to age, but that's why you play the games. We'll find out, and you'll all find out along with us. One more ad to play, and then we'll put a bow on this thing. And see how you said they have a back-to-back. What is their stretch of games coming up? Let's see here.
So the stretch of games coming up, they've got Washington that'll be coming out the day that this is coming out on Thursday night, and then they play in New Jersey on Saturday, and then they're home against the LA Kings on Sunday afternoon. By the way,
that's when they have a little bit of a break.
Actually, both games are in the afternoon this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so big test coming there, and then they have really odd time games against the Predators because those are the ones in Sweden coming up the following week.
That explains it. I was wondering why the break in games was the way it was, because they don't play for 5 days, and then they don't play for like 5 days again, or 2 days, but then they have another like 4 or 5 day break. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I hate that Sunday one is in the morning, 9 a.m. I'll be hanging out before Steelers Bengals up at the stadium. So what the heck are we doing? Schedule it like that. Friday at 2 p.m. is interesting as well.
I guess I'll have something to watch at work.
Yeah. Which I think that my GM watches or listens to this podcast, so no, I won't. But yeah, excited to talk about the next stretch hockey, especially because I just mentioned those afternoon games kind of been the Penguins' Achilles heel. So we'll see how they respond against the Devils and Kings in those ones. But the Capitals one, I'm very curious just because of the way that that third period went against the Leafs. So we'll play this. I didn't play this, did I? In the midst of talking, I didn't actually end up playing that ad, right? I'm losing it. Okay, good. All right. I'll tell you about Marcel Electric and we'll come back. What's going on, everybody? Smitty from Around the 412 here. Had to take a quick second to tell you about Marcelo Electric, serving Beaver, Allegheny, Lawrence, and Butler County. Whether it's residential, commercial, or service calls, our boy Brandon Marcelo's got you covered. 724-614-0611. Again, that's Marcelo Electric, 724-614-0611. The link below in the description takes you to his Facebook page. All his contact information is there, as well as a lot of the projects that he's been working on. Does great work. Couldn't recommend him enough. Yeah. Sorry, I was all over the map. I was like, I don't know if I even played this yet, and I didn't want to play it twice. So I feel like we've maybe had that happen before. So, but all right, let us know your thoughts on what's going on with the Penguins right now. If you feel like it is sustainable, all the injuries going on, how excited you are to see Sergei Murashov, all those things, drop them in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you are here on YouTube. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts from, we are there. Just search Around the 412, leave us a 5-star review, and subscribe while you are over there. And whether you're watching or listening, all the links in the description to all the great sponsors that we talked about through this episode, as well as the link to the GoFundMe for Rocking Around the 412, our yearly Christmas mission. Year 8 of doing so, year 7 of doing it the way that we do it now. And honestly, I feel like it just continues to evolve and be different because it's not 7 years of working with the East Rochester Salvation Army, but that's something we've been doing over the last few years as well, and really become a big part of what we're doing. So far, one local family to provide for, but a bunch of tags already taken, 50 in total to be exact with you, which makes 230 kids since 2019 that have had their Christmas provided to them through this mission. We're so thankful to that. Everybody that donates eligible to win some prizes, some Penguin tickets, very much, obviously, with this being the Penguins episode, relevant here to talk about autographed by Pat Fryermuth. What is that autograph? We don't know yet. Let us know if there's something specific that you would like. Maybe we'll do a couple. I don't know. I'll just have Pat come over and just start signing stuff. Maybe I'll do like 10 different things. I don't know. I'm not gonna make him do that. Some game changer stuff, some shop yin stuff. If you have any ideas for prizes, let us know as well. Maybe a Bath and Body Works basket, something like that. Something I would like, to be honest with you. Maybe even more so than the sports stuff. But yeah, let us know on all that. If you donate, at the very least, please share the mission. You never know whose eyes and ears you're going to get on this thing. Follow us, all social medias at Around the 412. Also, hit up Tyler, Wildland Strategies 33. Hit up me, Zachary Smith, PGH. Also, because if you want to reach out to us, you can donate directly to us, not go through GoFundMe, not give them any of those proceeds. All go directly to us to go to the families, not give them any type of cut. Is what it is. I get it. They're a business. They got to make their money, but they don't have to if you go through us. So reach out to us. But that's it for Tyler, for Smitty. This has been the Around the 412 Pen Show. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.